Now this is a story about John Christopher, the famed natural herbalist, the world-famous doctor. He was persecuted relentlessly by the governments while assisting patients in cancer cure, heart disease, pleurisy, tuberculosis, infertility, rheumatism, leukemia, and lots of other maladies. One of his proven noteworthy reports from his books in his long career showed how he could instantly stop a heart attack when he was able to get a patient to drink a glass of warm water with a teaspoonful of cayenne powder in it. And he writes in his memoirs, he says, most patients taking a teaspoonful of cayenne brought the patient out of a heart attack instantly. Well, the chemical companies can't do that with their drugs, can they? The cayenne detoxification drink, when taken religiously every day, will dramatically improve your health as well as your venous structure. He goes on to say in his reports, when starting to drink a cayenne detoxification drink, it will be expelled with a burning sensation, but don't worry about it. It won't do any harm. It is beneficial. In fact, continued use of cayenne clears up hemorrhoids, and the patient should have with the cayenne fresh veggies and fruit. Now, the oldest recipe to regain good health using cayenne is to squeeze some orange juice, blend it with an avocado and blend it with the cayenne, and you have one of the most healthy drinks that you could ever drink. Look, I'm giving you this information because we're coming into an era of time when the World Health Organization has, with Jane Burgermeister, criminal charges laid against it for attempted mass murder and attempted mass genocide. All of the people are involved in this with the United Nations, the New World Order, and all of the people with NATO, CFR, the Trilateral Commission, and the banking cartel, all of these people are behind it. Now, they're going to make it very hard for you to stay healthy because they want to make you sick. I know that sounds stupid and ridiculous and unthinkable, but that is what their game is. They want to make people sick, then they want to stick a needle in you, and they want to make you've got a chip, and they want to make sure that they can control you and every other human being on the earth. Now, I'm giving you this information so that you can do something about it, because they're going to bring in what is called Codex Alimentarius, and one of the items, or several of the items, are going to be banned, which are normally available today, and one of them is cayenne. They're going to ban supplements and vitamins because they know they can't make you sick and keep you sick when you can get onto these healthy foods. Now, I've given you this information so that you can now take control of your own problems with your own health. It doesn't matter where you live. You can put a pot plant on a balcony and grow cayenne, and the benefits that you will get from it is enormous. That the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agencies, only protect the big boys, the pharmaceutical companies and the drug companies. Let's look at this Codex Alimentarius. Here's their goals and objectives. And you'll like the wording here, international global harmonization. See, they give you these nice words that make it sound as if they are good people doing the right thing by it. They want abolition of organic farming. They want the introduction of GM food and livestock. Some of these are already banned in many countries. They want to bring it back in and make it so that you can't say no to it. Removal of all ingredients labelling. They don't want you to know what's on the label in the food. Why is that? Because they know that you won't like what's in there. They know that the GM, genetically modified ingredients, are not very good to keep you healthy, and in some cases are fatal for many people. They want restriction on all natural remedies. That means things like comfrey, which they've tried to demonise. When are they going to demonise parsley or spinach or some of the natural things which people eat which keep them healthy? They want you to get sick and stay sick. They want restrictions on all natural remedies. They want to stop you from having cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is one of the most valuable herbs for healing. And they want to enforce this by the United Nations treaties with the World Trade Organization, the World Trade Agreement. You see, we are, and every other country with the UN, are under World Trade Agreements. And it's through the World Trade Agreements that they will enforce Codex Alimentarius. Even though some of the chemicals we have banned, and many countries in the world have banned them, they're going to be able to bring them back in under these treaties. Now the Codex Alimentarius want the restrictions on chemicals to be lifted. Why would they want them lifted? Because one of their star members of the New World Order, Monsanto, want to make millions of dollars out of this. It goes on in this research, that you can get a lot more of this on the internet if you do your own research, that the GM crops of corn, soya, wheat, canola are potentially eaten by billions of people and animals worldwide. It is therefore perhaps of note that the heart, as a very representative muscle organ, was affected in the GM feeding groups. Kidneys and liver as particularly important on which to focus further research, because these organs are adversely affected. Now it goes on to also to say, all the 3 GM or corn varieties contain a distinctly different pesticide residue associated with their particular GM event, glyphosate. And in a moment or two, I'm going to show you what we found up in the shops about glyphosate. Now it also goes on to say that the preliminary studies show adverse effects to kidneys, liver, lungs and heart, and it also triggers obesity. And there's been an increase in child asthma cases over the last 10 years. Now, why would our politicians, why would our elected members of government allow this to continue? I'll tell you why. Because we have World Trade organisations and World Trade agreements, because we're under treaty with the United Nations. Again, we're in big trouble if we don't cut off and sever all relations with the United Nations. There we have one only little bee there, as you can see, and if you look up in the sky, you can see the sky is absolutely chock-a-block full of HAARP cloud, artificial cloud activity, and that is what's taken away the natural electromagnetic field that the bees need to find their way back home to their hive. Now the same banking cartel, the New World Order, these people are in charge of the sky now. That's the HAARP, their secret weapon. And as you can see, it is not natural cloud. But look up there, look up in the sky, and you no longer see all the swifts. They would be down here at this country now by the hundreds. They're not here anymore because the water is dried up by HAARP activity. We've only had half the normal rainfall. You ask the government, what's the chemtrails doing? What's the HAARP activity in the sky doing? And they give you a fob-off answer. They tell you that it's national security or it's classified information. Will you take this information, take this time-lapse film to the Department of Meteorology and see what they identify these clouds as? I'll give you $100 if they give you a truthful answer. Classified or national security, it doesn't matter. They have no right to poison the air we breathe and the water we drink. Have a look at this. And I've got a gauge here that can measure everything that we need to measure, and we want to measure any parts per million of anything that's of any elements or ions, metal in this water, because it should be free. So let's see. Here it is. You won't believe this. Come on, put the camera on this. You won't believe this. This is 28.9 parts per million. 28.9 parts per million when it should be no more than 1.5 at the most out of the sky, and it shouldn't have very much in the way of parts per million. Now come up here with the camera and have a look at that. This is only 3 parts per million. Can you see that? 3 parts per million only, and that's what the water out of the sky should be, not 28, 29 parts per million. Making them trillions of dollars at the expense of every country's ecosystem, killing out all of the wildlife, and most importantly, absolutely making them trillions of dollars at the expense of every country's ecosystem, killing out all of the wildlife, and most importantly, absolutely devastating creeks and the runoff into the oceans, and then also killing off the zooxanthellae in the coral. And they want to blame global warming for killing the coral. got nothing to do with global warming. You are looking at what is causing the death of the barrier reef. Do not allow the chemical or the containers or the spray to get into drains, sewers, streams or ponds. Do not plant seeds or seedlings into the soils that have been treated with this chemical. And yet, as you've seen in the film, there is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of acres that the soil is drenched with this, and particularly drenched with this because of GM food. No matter where you live in the world, how long are you going to allow this United Nations and this international criminal syndicate to continue to foul up the air you breathe and poison the water that you drink? How long are you going to let this happen? If you're a politician elected into government, you better stand up right now and sever all relationships with the United Nations.